Perimeter Solutions is celebrating the 60th anniversary of Phos-Chek long-term fire retardant. First approved for use in aerial firefighting in 1963, the United States Forest Service has relied on Phos-Chek to contain and suppress wildfires for 6 decades, and it has proven to be a safe and effective technology, protecting property and saving countless lives. On this episode of Solutions That Save, Perimeter Solutions Vice Chairman Edward Goldberg and President of Global Fire Safety Jeff Emery discuss the evolution of Phos-Chek and the impact it has had on fire safety. All that on this episode of Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions, helping save property, natural resources, critical infrastructure, and lives.
Thanks, James. So this is our first podcast of 2023, and we have a new voice today. Jeff Emery, who is the president of our global fire safety business in Perimeter Solutions. So Jeff, how's it going?
Yeah, thanks, Eddie. It's hard to believe that it's been almost a year now since we had our very first conversation, and I was interviewing for this position with Perimeter Solutions. And I just wanted to give my quick impressions of the company coming in. I think from the first day that you and I met, it was clear the passion that you had about this business and about the industry that we serve. And it's been a pretty amazing experience over the course of the last year to get a chance to meet the entire population of Perimeter, the employees that we have around the world. And I can say that that first impression that I had from you, I've seen the same thing from just about every employee across the business since I joined. And I think the uniting principle is that there's a passion there. There's a passion for what we do. There's a passion for the customers that we get to serve and that we have the privilege to protect every day. And the mission is pretty strong with us. It's something that's a noble mission. I think we'll have a good chance to talk about that a little bit today and how that's grown over the past 60 years.
Well, it's great to have you be part of it. You know, this is a historic year for Perimeter Solutions as we're marking the 60th anniversary of Phos-Chek. And, to celebrate this milestone, we've launched the virtual Phos-Chek 60th Anniversary Museum. As you're listening to today's Solutions That Save podcast, you can visit the Phos-Chek Museum by clicking on the link that appears in the episode description. Looking back over the last 60 years, a lot has changed in this business. But one thing that hasn't is our mission. From the very first drop of retardant to today has always been the same. We protect firefighters on the ground and develop the tools that help them save lives and protect property. It reminds me of an old story I heard back from the John F. Kennedy days when he had given NASA the mandate to put a man on the moon by the end of the 1960s. And the story goes that if you went to NASA and asked anybody there what their job was, they would tell you their job was to put a man on the moon. Our people feel the same way. And I think if you asked people at Perimeter what their job was, they would tell you their job is to help save lives and protect property. It's kind of the culture that we have. And, I'd be interested to hear what, if you've seen that kind of same thing as you've joined.
I absolutely have. And it's pretty amazing to think that for 60 years, we've had this kind of mission. And for the first 45 years of that, we were a relatively small business, a small business within a much larger company. And it was really over the last 15 years as the impact of wildfires in the U.S. and around the world started to really grow and really become more devastating. This team stepped up, and you talk to people that have been here for 15 or 20 years, and you really get the impression of what that meant to them to be able to play an even bigger role in protecting against these mega fires and being able to keep communities and homes safe. And as you walk around and talk to the team, you don't even have to prompt people. They'll tell you in that very first conversation that they're here to keep people safe and to keep communities and property safe. And that's pretty unique that everybody, to be able to walk around a company and have everybody just rattle off that same mission, whether they're working out in the field at an air base or whether they're in the production facility making the retardant. I think as you look over our history, we've grown in a lot of different ways. We've grown in the products that we make. And one of the unique things, I think, from my perspective in looking at how we've been so successful over the years is that our product portfolio wasn't just designed in a vacuum somewhere and then pushed out to go try to find a customer. The unique thing about, I think, our business and about the culture of the business is we went out to their customer and understood their needs and then turned around and built products, built services, and created solutions that could actually meet and satisfy those needs. Over the last few years, we've really fine-tuned our operations, for instance, the logistics of actually delivering fire retardant. The rate of increase in the need for retardant, the rate of increase in fires and the need to respond quickly has really ratcheted up. And it's forced us to build an infrastructure that's unmatched out there in the field. Today, no matter where a fire might ignite, and that could be on the East Coast in Florida, it could be in Texas, it could be in California, we're in a position where we're on call and we're ready to produce, deliver, and be ready to support those firefighting efforts anywhere within 24 hours. And that's pretty fantastic. This is a source of a lot of pride for us, and it's something that is, I think, unique to Perimeter Solutions. We're the only company in the world that has this kind of capability. You talked a little bit about that mission, and the mission goes far beyond just aerial operations and the chemicals that we produce. It's really a mission of protecting the firefighters on the ground. And I think that's something that as the team starts to recognize the role that they play when you bring a new person into the business, they really embrace it. And the firefighters on the ground are doing the hard work every day, protecting the communities. We give them the tools they need to save those lives and save and protect the property. And I think that's a core part of our DNA and something I've seen the entire team committed to.
And that's all really important because, a lot of people out there talk about what they can do or what they might be able to do, but we've been doing it for 60 years and we've been doing it successfully, fulfilling that mission. So we've got the experience, we've got the right people, we've got the right infrastructure. We just get it done, year after year. I wanted to talk a little bit about the technology around the fire retardant. The very first Phos-Chek retardant was approved for aerial attack with the U.S. Forest Service in 1963, actually. And it was based on ammonium phosphate, and that was the active ingredient. And it remains the active ingredient today because based on years of research, years of experience, ammonium phosphate is known as the safest, most effective fire retardant chemical available. So we stick with that technology because it works. That's not to say that we haven't had a history of successful innovation over the years. We have. And, just to name a couple, we added the red color to the retardant in the early 1970s, 1971, to make it visible from the air so that pilots could tag on to the retardant lines. Red iron oxide is a staining kind of color. There's a demand in the industry or a request from our customers to come up with a color that you could see from the airplane but would disappear over time. And in 1975, we introduced what we call the fugitive color, which did just that. This really helped improve safety for the pilots because we could create continuous lines of retardant. It reduced the amount of time they needed to be in the air and ensured we didn't have gaps in the fire line. It improved the safety for firefighters on the ground, helped better contain the fires, and it gave a lot of extra time to get firefighters in to actually put out the fire. We've actually had many more innovations since the 1970s that have made our retardant safer, more effective, and more environmentally friendly over the years, and leading up to our latest product, which is Phos-Chek LCE 20FX, our newest generation of liquid concentrate.
Yeah, it's really an amazing history, Eddie, and you see the progress year over year in continually improving that fire retardant. And I think that's why Phos-Chek is recognized as the leading fire retardant in the world, not just in the U.S., but across the globe. It's almost become as ubiquitous as Kleenex it would be when people are talking about fire retardant and see the red stuff that drops out of aircraft, as we like to say. But I think over the last few years, it's not just the products that evolved. There's several other things that I want to kind of highlight that have really helped us make a bigger impact in fulfilling that mission. The first one's around ground applications. So people naturally think of Phos-Chek as that retardant and as its use in aerial operations, but its use on the ground has increased dramatically over the last several years. And it's playing a bigger role today in both fire response and prevention, where we can apply a treatment towards the beginning of the season and prevent that ignition in the first place, which is very hard to measure, but certainly has prevented countless fires over the years. The other big advancement that I think we maybe sometimes goes a little bit under the radar is the equipment and the capability that we have to set up operations just about anywhere. We've got fixed bases where our employees are staffing over 50 sites around the country. with the capability to mix, to load on demand, and supporting operations throughout the fire season. But we also have these mobile retardant bases that are able to support forward attack operations and help stop the wildfires early in their progress. One of the great examples and another step forward in that is happened over the last few years is we've started to enable even night operations. It includes an innovative quick reaction force program that covers Orange, LA, and Ventura counties in California. And I think is a model that you're going to see become more and more prevalent in the years to come. The other piece of the FosCheck brand that I think is another good example, I think, of us listening to the customers, understanding the applications, and bringing forward more solutions. And that's on the foam side. So, firefighting foam, just like retardants, each of those has their place in that fight. And FosCheck WD-881 was introduced back in 1988 and actually became the first Class A foam that was approved for use in fixed tank equipped helicopters. We have an extensive line of Class B foams today that have evolved with the industry, and we're leading the charge in fluorine-free foam development. I think those all stem from that original mission and expanding our portfolio, expanding the solutions to be able to support that mission every step of the way. The other piece that I wanted to highlight a little bit while we're together today, Eddie, is around the environmental side. This is an area that I know over the last couple of decades, really, we've continuously worked to improve. Every iteration of FosCheck that's come out, we've put a big focus in making sure they are the safest, most effective, and environmentally friendly products that are available to be produced. And I think the latest example of that, as you look across the portfolio, is the LC20FX. That lowered metals content, lower fish toxicity, and lower overall toxicity to show that we're being stewards of the land, stewards of the environment that we're tasked with protecting. As we think about the environmental impact, I think sometimes what we don't think about enough is the environmental impact that we help to prevent. Wildfires in and of themselves, if gone unchecked, can be absolutely devastating to the wildlife, to the waterways. And we've seen example after example of, fires that got out of control, and the impact that they can have can last decades on those environments. So that's a point of pride. And honestly, when I came on board a year ago, that was one of the things that I looked at really hard, is the ability to make an impact and a real positive impact on the environment by preventing that impact from wildfires. And I think it's a point of pride that most of our employees share. So, Eddie, I'm curious as we look ahead, there's a lot in front of us, but I'm wondering, you've had now decades of experience both being a part of this team and leading this team. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about our legacy in fire safety and what that means to you.
Yeah, I've been doing this quite a while now, I think going on 21 years. And looking back, I'm really proud of the fact that FosCheck and the folks here at Perimeter Solutions have made aerial firefighting safer for pilots and for firefighters on the ground. I'm just so proud of the organization for everything that they've been able to accomplish over the years. Since our introduction, FosCheck's helped save thousands of structures and countless lives. And every day, what we do, we're honored to support our firefighters, and we're proud of the positive impact that we've had in the fire safety industry. Trust is earned. We have to take this seriously, and we have for the last 60 years. And we're going to continue to take this business forward, working with you to support our mission in the firefighting industry. Before I sign off, I just want to say don't forget to visit the FosCheck Museum to learn more about the history of FosCheck and meet some of the people that made it possible and got us where we are today. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. Thanks for joining me with this. And James, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Eddie. We hope you make time to tour the FosCheck 60th Anniversary Museum to learn more about the history of FosCheck. To visit the museum, just click the link in the show description. And to find out how we use our experience, responsibility, and integrity to deliver trusted solutions that help improve firefighting performance, visit our website at perimeter-solutions.com. That's perimeter-solutions.com. And be sure to join us again on our next episode of Solutions That Save, a fire safety podcast from Perimeter Solutions.